Hey, good evening. It is me again. Close to 9 in the evening, $2,100. The 20th of January. So you know there's something coming up when I get on the video. Maybe just because I'm too lazy to type on Facebook or other social media, email, and responding to some of the folks that I communicate with regards to the questions they have. So the last few weeks, I've been getting a lot of messages. So I thought I'd answer one question that they have sent up to me. I kind of generalized the question into one big concern that most of these folks that I deal with, mostly what they expect, especially folks that are transferring here in the Pacific Northwest. I live roughly 10, 12 miles from the Naval Station Everett, which is in Everett, Washington. I live in the town of Marysville, which is just north of Everett, because the Naval Station itself sits on the north side of Everett. All right, so to those folks that I'm dealing with, they have questions about, hey, what do we expect when we get there? So I think the best way to sum this up is I kind of enumerated the 5 most important things you need to know before you transfer up here, right? Before you even do your house hunting, before you even Google stuff up. Because I can assure you that some of that stuff that people kind of conclude after reading Google items, they're concluding wrong. So what are those 5 biggest items, all right? Well, you're not going to get it on Google. Number 1, which is not, you're not going to get it in Google, is the size of the base. This base is tiny. In 1997, when we drove here, when I was stationed in we should call now what, Navy recruiting at that time, were divided into districts. I was stationed in NRD Chicago, so I decided at that time in 1997 to just drive up here, just to see Naval Station Everett. I ultimately liked it, and we ended up getting stationed here the year later, 2000. So basically, this place is small. If you've been stationed in Japan, or I've never been stationed in, like let's say in Italy, where I was told it's small, or in Bahrain, I've been there many times. But if you've been stationed in Japan, in Yokosuka, you think that place is small? This base is probably a quarter or a fifth of that size. This thing is small. It only has 2 piers, and that being said, it only has a fleet exchange. The main Navy exchange and the main commissary is not even located inside Naval Station Everett. Yeah, that's how small it is. It is located in another town. As a matter of fact, 15 miles, roughly 13 to 15 miles north of the base. So if you're a family man, you got your spouse and your kids with you, obviously you're going to be looking up base for housing. You're going to have a vehicle. I highly suggest that you get one before you get up here. This is not San Diego, where you got white sandy beaches. This is not Texas, wherein it's going to be hot. Though this is not Japan, where it gets really cold in the wintertime. Nor is this Hawaii, wherein you get these abundant tropical, exotic, mild, really warm temperatures that's not really humid. This is the Pacific Northwest, Naval Station Everett. I can talk about the other bases later, but specifically Naval Station Everett, you just don't walk off the gate to walk into a club, a bar, or a sing-along, a karaoke bar, or a place where you could get some food. You're going to have to walk like a few blocks, okay? But as soon as you get into like the 3rd block, which is where Colby Street is, and Everett, it's where all the restaurants are at. And you talk about food. It's great up here in the Northwest. You can walk a block north, great decent restaurants and seafood galore. Okay, now if you're allergic to seafood, I don't think this is the place for you. Okay. That being said, when you have a naval facilities that is constricted into 1, 2, 3, 4 streets, you can probably expect just a few maintenance buildings, departments, security, big personnel support, a gym, one fleet Navy exchange with a barber shop, Navy Federal Credit Union, and that's it. Understand, you only have 2 piers servicing 8 DDGs currently. Now, the station area was the USS Abraham Lincoln and 3 FFGs and 2 DDs, the old Spruance class or Kid class. Now it's all the Arleigh Burkes are here. And the intent, I do believe, is that from what I've been hearing, is this is where they're going to station the 12 FFGs that are currently being built. I don't know how true that is, but you know how that works. By the 5th year, when you have 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they're probably going to be dispersed all over. So there's a big plan for Naval Station Everett. So again, it's not big enough. The main exchange and commissary is out there. Okay? Ask me in the comment section where, and I could expand on that further. I talked about that already, right? Housing. Third one is housing. All right. Since we already know that the naval station is not big enough, this is not Naval Station Yokosuka in Japan, wherein you have like, 13 towers in the whole facility itself, and right around the town, like let's say San Diego, you have like housing complexes galore. I don't know if the one by Paradise Valley is still there, or the one close to Highway 8, Interstate 8 or 10, right? The one by Claremont is just all over the place. And I do believe they still have one there by the Marine Corps Recruit Depot. Here, I do believe we only have 2 Navy housing complexes, one in Lake Stevens, which is another town east of Marysville, which is north of Everett, and another one that is privatized right now, and I don't even know if that still exists, in Smoky Point in Marysville/Arlington. Other than that, that's it. So if you're a family man, I'm going to get stationed in Everett, and I'm in that window now to look for houses. You may want to get in touch with your favorite realtor, and if you need one, all right, that's what I do. Or if you just don't like my looks, no, on a serious note, I have in my database hundreds of agents in the area, and if you're particularly looking for one with a particular set of talent, hey, you know what, that I don't have, just let me know, okay? If you're moving from South Carolina, you're moving from Florida, Texas, let me know how I can help, okay? Houses here, let's just put it this way. When it comes to, let's talk about houses. Let's talk about homes. Before you even get up here, and I know as a family man, as somebody that's taking care of your family, you get to be deployed, etc. I've been there. I understand. You want to settle them down first. If they give you so many months, 6 months before you get the transfer here, you need to get in touch with somebody who really knows the area, who really knows what the neighborhoods are like, okay? Because if you Google Map Everett and you head south, Seattle is south, right? Price of homes gets more expensive as you go south, all right? About $50,000 per town. That's just a speculative number. But I know for a fact it does get expensive. A $500,000 home in Everett for the same size, about $1.2 million in Seattle. Now, the good news is that there's plenty of houses. The inventory is huge. Unlike when you're getting stationed in Naval Air Station in Whidbey Island in Oak Harbor, last time I checked, there are only 48 homes in the market there right now in Oak Harbor. Now, you got to go around the island. You go to the other side, in Kitsap, you go to Bremerton. There are 150 homes in the market. That's the whole county. But you also understand that there are 3 major naval facilities there. Okay? So in Everett alone, there are 250 homes in the market right now. Again, that is from a price that's free to a $1.5 million home. So, but the inventory is there. You don't have to stick to Everett. Again, Google Map this. Head east. You see Lake Stevens all the way to Monroe. I just helped a fellow shipmate of my last ship that's stationed here in Everett now. I helped this family go find a home. They were looking all the way over to Monroe, which is way east. That's about a 40-minute drive. Okay, they were willing to go look for a house way up there, and ultimately I found them a place about 4 miles from where I live in Marysville. They seem to be happy. I'm happy for them. Over in the other side, I've helped a lot of sailors on the Nimitz, the aircraft carrier Nimitz, which is currently on deployment right now. You guys take care out there. So the bottom line is that the inventory is up. The houses are staying in the market, okay, because prices, if they have not stabilized yet, which they have, and if they still continue to go down, it's because it's harder to sell a house now as compared to March, before March of last year when the market shifted. All right? So that's another topic of conversation when it comes to houses. But they're readily available here, and they're good to go. Lastly, one thing that I have really a heartache to talk about is that people complain too much about the rain here. It doesn't rain that much in the Northwest, all right? As a matter of fact, you're going to laugh at this, we don't even own an umbrella. If you live in the Northwest, we know that it doesn't rain long enough for you to require an umbrella. So those that hasn't seen rain, if you've been stationed in San Diego, Texas, Florida, well, Florida, you've seen rain, okay? Arizona or Fallon, Nevada, some of these, like Lemoore, oh my God, it rains too much there. The stigma, the stereotype of Seattle or the Pacific Northwest. No. For somebody that lived 8 months out of the year, my first 25 years of my life, back I'm Filipino by birth, if you don't know yet, now there's rain. Now, of course, I might be a little biased. In all seriousness, it rains more in Oregon and Hawaii than Washington State. What we have plenty of here are overcast skies and overcast conditions. Okay, the sun might peak once in a while. I mean, sometime in early December last year, we had a barrage of snow. We had about, roughly where I live here, we had about 8 inches of snow. And this is sea level, right? So those that have, this is the first time they've been stationed here, their first winter. Oh my God, they were all freaking out. Bring out the jackets and the sweater. Well, guess what? Now it's in the 50s. This is weird. January, middle of winter. It's in the 50s, low 50s. It's been stagnating in the mid 40s lately. We're walking out in t-shirts. That's probably something to do with global warming, which is sad. But you don't get this greenery here in the Northwest because it's hot or too cold or simply because it rains a lot. No. Get up here. It does rain like when the temperature dips high 30s to the 50s. But once that summer climate comes into play, 70s, 80s, and 90s this last few years, which is unheard of, then it gets really hot and muggy. Okay, I mean the whole world is getting hot and muggy to begin with. So those are the 5 things. Let's just keep it that way because those are the most common items or issues that I see, and a lot of people are surprised when they will ultimately get here on what to see in Naval Station Everett. So the size of the base, okay, housing, the commissary exchange, which is not inside the base. It's 12 miles away, all right? The rain and government housing. So if you guys have any questions on any of these, feel free. You can email me. You could call me. You could even call me. So ask a question, send me a comment. I'm on Facebook all the time. This is going to go on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. So again, to the men and women out there, I do not say this lightly. There is a reason why us retired veterans are now retired. We get to enjoy what we do. And there's a whole ton of us here in the Pacific Northwest. Is because of what you do. All right. The sacrifices that entails, that takes, that what it takes for you guys to do your jobs. I am very thankful for what you guys do and the appreciation that we have. So if you're deployed, you're forward deployed, or you just left, like the carrier strike group up here, a few blocks away, a few miles away, you guys take care, because ultimately you guys are coming home. And that's the beauty of leaving. You ultimately come home to that family of yours in the pier. So you guys take care. It has been a pleasure, a privilege, and an honor to have served the world's finest service. Take care. Enjoy the evening, folks.